Gentlemen, I am glad to greet you in our program Oil Properties. Today, I will tell you what is going on with this car, what are we going to pour into the engine, and why we are taking off the wheels from it. This car was driven to the dealer. According to the technical requirements of Range Rover, the official dealer made a computerized engine diagnostics, and no problems were found. We tried to send them photos, links, and even made several calls. However, as their computerized diagnostics didn't find any troubles, we were told that it was safe to drive this car. They didn't even change the motor oil. As we didn't feel confident about driving the car with metal particles inside it, we found two possible decisions. To change oil in order to somehow get rid of the metal particles, and not to change oil, as the dealer has told us there was no need for that. After all, we have got plenty of fantastic oil additives, which might improve oil properties. As you remember, we tested oil characteristics of tribology, HTHS viscosity, and the results showed the decrease in grease properties. We decided to add iMagnet, which, according to the information, increases HTHS characteristics that protects oil layer from destruction under high loads. We suppose that metal particles appeared in the oil because the oil itself wasn't working properly. The oil layer that should have been kept between piston rings and the cylinder was very thin to protect the engine from wear. Or maybe it didn't lubricate friction zone at all, and that is why piston rings were scratching the cylinder. It might be not rings though, we can't say exactly. It must be checked anyway. It is possible to change the oil anytime we want, today, tomorrow, or even in a month. On the contrary, there is only one possibility to check if this iMagnet actually works, because now we have got this dead oil in this Range Rover. We arrived in the Techno-Ring company. There is a DY&O stand, which can measure the horsepower directly from wheel hubs. This looks pretty weird. I'm afraid they will break this car today. Or this smell of piston rings. Now we are measuring the engine power before using any oil additives. As for me, it is very interesting whether this car would show at least basic characteristics. But the man from the laboratory says that such cars always reach basics during the test. How often do the results correspond to the basic characteristics? Much depends on a car. What about this one? It usually does. Russian, German, American cars correspond to the basics, but not Korean. Korean? Yes. Hyundai, Kia, all of them. So, according to the passport data, it is 105, but in reality it's just 95. It is minimum 10 to 15 horsepower slower. This is pretty much. Thank you. Thus, the maximum horsepower was 10 horsepower higher comparing with the declared one, and torque was even 70 newtons higher, but reached such results only on 3000 rotations per minute. Not bad for a petrol engine, but not for a diesel one. Now we are going to pour the iMagnet P14 and measure the results. Later we are going to make some tests on oil oxidation, viscosity and so on in the laboratory. Let us try and see the effect. We are not sure about it, but suppose the horsepower won't increase significantly. As we just saw on DY&O stand, we have got 303 horsepower as maximum and 292 horsepower according to the passport data. So we pour out this additive, idle away the engine, drive a little bit to mix the additive properly. I'm afraid because of a cold weather, just idling the engine will not be enough. Then we come back to the DY&O test one more time to find out the results. I like its turn signal, but I don't appreciate the braking system. You know how it usually happens. You buy a good car for 4,000, go to Yaroslavl to visit your granny, and then just sell it, because it turned out to be not as good. It is a good car after all. It doesn't matter for me what the results will be. I would probably buy this car even with metal particles inside the engine, but at a lower price, 500,000 rubles maximum. I understand this car has some problems, but at the moment the engine performs good. Apart from prestige and appearance, you get a wonderful feeling driving this car. If you are driving at 80 to 100 km per hour, the feeling differs a lot from the ordinary car. Everything works smoothly. After 120 km per hour, you can't beat physics, you start shaking on holes, and other things common for an ordinary car start happening. Remember it, bro. If you drive a Mitsubishi Lancer on a speedway, the feelings will be the same as driving a Range Rover Sport. Ты должен чувствовать себя в крутой тачке. А вот если ты едешь с ним рядом по городу, знай точно, ты лошара. Без обид. Ну, прости, не всем везет. Кому-то везет больше, да. Now we need to make our test and compare the results before and after using of iMagnet. Нам нужно провести серию замеров, то есть до присадки, после присадки, вообще как все это, есть ли разница. Looking at these diagrams, we need to remember that it is a diesel engine which develops its maximum torque after 2000 rotations per minute. Despite the fact that neither power nor the torque have increased, we can see how engine restores its diesel characteristics. The tests start with power increase while engine is heating. When we notice a decrease in power, we let the engine cool. Transmission keeps warm, so the next probe would be more reliable. The results, as usually, differ from what our car owner and we had expected. I take this car because the engine started working better. Good luck and bye. Honestly, we were expecting different results. It was more likely for us that the maximum parameters of power and torque would increase. But what really increased are these parameters at smaller rotations per minute. After 3000, the turbine starts working and the oil additive doesn't really matter in this case. The DY&O stand specialist told us that we probably installed cheap tuning while we were driving, but to be honest, we were eating crisps in a restaurant nearby and came back after an hour. I came to visit our old friends, VMP Auto company, and decided to ask the head of the scientific department, Elman, who could explain us the meaning of those graphics. How did it happen? We suppose that these metal particles in oil show wear of the engine. Seems like metal particles from the cylinder surface. Thus, the standoff between the cylinder and pistons increased, so thickness of oil layer wasn't enough anymore to ensure high combustion process. Not only lubricating, but also combustion. Because of this standoff, some gases and soot could penetrate. Therefore, the oil was growing old and oxidizing faster than usual. I mean, the power decreased because the standoff had increased. Consequently, we had a decrease in compression. That's it. Adding of iMagnet helped to increase thickness of the oil layer and recover the HTHS parameters.
Уровню, которое оно было у свежего масла. Ну, у заводского, да. Да, у заводского свежего масла, в общем-то, немножко повысили. То есть HTHS, у нас толщина масляной пленки возросла.
Capsulation of the combustion chamber improved and the efficiency increased.
Ну и сгорание, оно тоже.
То есть это, по сути, тоже
So,
один из
this is one of the possible
способов
ways to increase compression just with the help of HTHS.
Именно просто за счет той же самой
Yes.
HTHS, по сути. То есть все заводскими способами.
Ну, в каком-то смысле, да.
Огромное спасибо
Thank
за
you for the
интервью.
interview. I hope that everything became clear for everybody.
Надеюсь, что многим из вас будет понятнее тоже.
Hope to see you again. Good luck. Bye.
Удачи вам отдельной, собственно, и всего доброго.
Счастливо.
В общем, ладно, по факту, конечно, хватит балаболить, потому что
Power increase is just a small result of using the iMagnet. The most interesting is what is going to be with chemical parameters. We will tell you about it in our future videos. Good luck to everybody, and thank you for watching.
Спасибо, что смотрели. Всем огромной удачи и пока.